What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Independent Waters. I am your host, Mikey Manfredi, and joining me, as always, Zach Batista. Zach, how are you doing? Are you ready for this second episode of Independent Waters?
I am doing great. I am pumped for this new episode of Independent Waters. I'm very excited to see what you brought to the table, and I'm very excited to show you what I brought. Got a good lineup today.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. We got some pretty sick matches going into this one. And if you're new to this show, remember, it's me and Zach, and we review independent wrestling matches. No WWE, no AEW, and no New Japan.
New Japan?
Yeah, we go back and forth, and we present each other independent wrestling matches, and we give them our review on a scale of miss out, meh, or mark out. Mark out being the best, obviously. Miss out being the worst, and meh being fine. So, I believe since I mean, you want to get right into it?
Yeah,
you got any news to share for the people of the pod?
Nothing like really of note, other than the fact that I've really tried to spread my wings with this show now. I'm trying to search out new wrestling promotions, some of which this week I've never heard of up until when I watched the match. So I'm excited to see what else I can bring to the table. Anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, I also dipped my toes into a brand new promotion I've never heard of before, and I'm very excited to share that with everybody a little later in the show.
Nice.
All right. Well, I guess let's get right into it then. Since you started off last week, Zach, I will kick us off this week.
Let's get it.
And I think the first match I'm going to be presenting is from Black Label Pro's event called Slamilton 2. It was a big event that happened a little while ago. I'm not exactly sure dates, but the match I picked this week is Kylie Rae versus Billie Starkz. Now, I love Kylie Rae, so this was no surprise that it was going to happen eventually. So I was very excited to get into this match. However, I will say this match was kind of a bummer. Like, it was all right. It was decent. There was like a really long spot where Billie Starkz like bit Kylie Rae's finger while Kylie had a submission in, and then Kylie bites Billie's finger to pay as payback, and then the ref tries to stop them, and they both bite the ref's finger. It's funny. It's funny, but like, I don't know. I feel like it went on a little too long for me, and it changes because Kylie Rae is the one who ends up biting the ref's finger longer. Billie Starkz has to pull her off of the referee.
Oh my god!
Which is wild because for someone named Smiley Kylie Rae was actually playing more of the heel in this match. She did like the hair. She did a lot of the hair pulling. She did foot chokes. It was like a lot of heel stuff coming from Kylie, which was kind of wild because she's usually Smiley Kylie.
Yeah, wow, that's surreal to hear.
It's a cool dynamic for sure, but the thing that gets me about this match is that it's as soon as it starts picking up and the pace starts going like quicker and they start actually like getting into a good fight, Kylie Rae hits a super kick and the match is over.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's like finally getting to the point of like, all right, let's get into it, let's get to the good stuff, and then Kylie Rae hits one super kick, gets the 1, 2, 3, and the match is done, and it's like, but I was just,
but I wanted
but it was
more.
just getting good, yeah. Exactly. I think that was the reason I didn't like this match as much, because as soon as I was ready for more and ready for these two to start kicking the crap out of each other, it just stopped.
Dang.
It was a huge bummer. So unfortunately, I think I give this match a miss out.
Dang, that's our first one.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Like I don't like, I hate doing it, but like if you don't watch this match, you're not really missing out on much, because like I said, once it finally starts getting exciting, it just cuts off. Like it gets you all hyped for a good match, and then it's just like it took it right away from you.
Pull the rug right out from under your feet.
But like it sucks because I know this match could have been good, because it looked like it was gonna get there, and both of these superstars are good. I just wish they didn't end it so suddenly.
I feel that. No one likes to be blue balls in the middle of a match.
Exactly. Nobody likes that. So that was a bummer. I give this match a miss out. Zach, what's your first match this week?
Well, going off of last week after we watched Car Noir versus Pac, I wanted to dip my toe into more of Riptide Wrestling because the camera work on it hooked me. If you haven't heard that, listen to last week's episode, you'll hear us both gush about that match.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided to look around a bit. And it's funny, the context of the story is that I was looking for a match up last week before it, but I couldn't really find anything. And I saw someone named Mike Bailey. So I looked him up online because I wanted to see what he did. And his first thing on his Twitter page, you can see, is him doing his finisher, which is called the Ultimate Weapon, which is a shooting star press into where he takes both his knees and he just jams them onto his opponent's back. So I was like
a meteor almost.
Yeah, basically. So I was like, all right, I want a match with this guy. And then I found the Holy Grail. It's him versus Walter at Riptide Wrestling for their event called International Waters.
Oh, that match. Batista, I will say, I have watched this match before.
Oh, man.
This match, I'm going to let you gush about it, because I've already done my gushing about it.
So the match starts, and they're both already in the ring. They're in the entrances, which I was a little sad about, because I loved the entrances of last week's. They're sizing each other up, and Mike's, like, he's being quick. He's kicking Walter around, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. I'm like, this is David vs. Goliath, classic. Walter's kind of manhandling him for a good portion of the beginning of this match. Like, he, like, throws him out of the ring at one point, I think. And I'm like, all right, I'm not really sure what the deal with Mike Bailey is, but I'm good with it. Then Mike Bailey hits a kick, and if you know Walter's chops, which are, like, handgun shots, Mike Bailey's kicks are, like, shotgun hits to the chest. Like, they had weight to them.
Oh, did you, Mike Bailey just wrestles with kick pads and no boots underneath? He just wrestles with bare feet and kick pads?
I actually noticed that at the end of the match when he was pulling up his tights. I saw that.
I thought that was crazy. I was like,
wow.
You're wearing kick pads but no boots? That's cool.
The best way I described this match that I wrote down was it was like I was watching a Fight Club. There were literally two spotlights in the center of the ring. Everything else was dark as hell, and they were just beating the crap out of each other, man.
Yeah, this match was nutty.
There was, like, if you want wrestling, like, grappling in your wrestling match, this match won't get you as much because they, for a majority of this match, are just punching, chopping, and kicking each other. They're just beating each other, and I was here for it. Like, this match was basically a matchup of can Walter's upper body and his punches take out Mike Bailey's speed and his quick kicks, or will Mike Bailey prevail? Like, there's a point in the match where it really opens up when I think Mike Bailey kicks Walter's left leg, and he actually falls out. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, oh, we got to the opening. And it's because, like, keep in mind, up until this point in the match, Walter has just been, I can't clap next to the microphone, but he has just been just chopping the crap out of Mike's chest. And every hit, I'm just like, ah. Like,
yeah, and if you haven't heard Walter's chops, at all, like, in your lifetime, if you're a wrestling fan, it sounds like a frying pan. It sounds like somebody just getting railed with a frying pan. It's
pretty
so
much
loud.
If you look up online Walter Chop compilation, you will find him chopping people, and the sound it makes is just it's
sickening, man.
The best way I can describe it is like those Russian slapping contests where, like, when they smack each other, it's like an impact where it's just like, oh god.
I feel like they break it. It feels like they break the sound barrier.
Pretty much, yeah. So to get into this before a little bit was they're eventually, like, after, like, I was saying Mike Bailey gets some offense in this match. Like, he knocks Walter down. He then starts showing off his athleticism, which is crazy. He does, like, a standing corkscrew, like, flip onto Walter. Walter then rolls out.
He's nutty.
He then runs up, jumps to the top turnbuckle just immediately, and then just backflips onto Walter. And I was just like, this guy's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and one little thing I thought was just funny was that they both went into the crowd. And, like, there's no lights on them, so you can't hear anything. But then all you just hear is just Mike kicking Walter, and I'm like, I don't even have to see what's happening. I just know that he just that hurt.
You just hear, like,
pretty much, yeah. And I was just like, ow. So Walter actually crawls back into the ring, which is a good contrast, because at the beginning of the match, Mike had to crawl back into the ring. So now Walter's crawling back. The ending sequence of this match is just the two of them standing up and then just hitting each other. And, like, you can literally see, like, you know how, like, when you're standing in, like, and, like, you see, like, a light kind of shines down, you see the dust in the air? Mm-hmm. Every hit, you just saw, like, the impact and them fly off. And I was just like, it was like just
the mist of the sweat.
Yeah, you could just see it. The ending, basically, so I'll skip a bit to the ending because I've gushed enough. Like, it's like, I can't do the kicks and punches justice, but Mike, at one point, if I recall correctly, chops Walter, and the crowd and him all, like, everyone goes silent for a second. You get, like, this face of, like, Mike going, like, oh no, what did I do? And everyone's like, you effed up. You effed up. And Walter just palms him. I think then Mike gets some offense in. He does his ultimate weapon, and I was like, oh, wow. Walter kicked out of it, and I was like, oh, my God. I was like, what the heck? Mike then goes for it again, except Walter gets up and chops him out of the air. He died. He then lariats him. Mike kicks out. Walter picks him up. Like Sheamus does, like, the beats to the bout, like the drum. He does that. He beats him in the chest repeatedly and then puts him in a sleeper, and Mike instantly taps out. And, like, in any other match, I'm like, oh, that was a bit sudden. But the context of this match, them just beating each other up, was just, I was like, that was perfect. Like, they ended, Walter looked exhausted. He could barely walk. Mike looked like he's had the wind knocked out of each other, which,
I'm pretty sure if you're taking chops from Walter like that, your lungs probably collapsed.
If they weren't selling, like, if they were just selling, or if they were actually they actually were hurting, like, they sold each other's offense like death. Like, Walter, when he got kicked, was like oh, God, that was painful. Now,
oh, God, that hurt. Oh, no.
Oh, no, I can't breathe. Let me hurt your chest now. Bam.
Yeah, dude. But I remember I watched this match like a while ago. I think I cried, like, at one point. Like, I think I was crying because I was, like, so emotionally invested in the match because it just hooked me, like, immediately. And it, like, I think I just got so hyped I ended up, like, crying, and it was amazing.
I love this match. This match gets a mark out for me. You should watch this match. The two of them are ridiculously talented. The crowd, as per usual, the UK crowd is super into it, and that crowd's actually 50-50, so it's like a legit, like, a fight feel to it. I love this match. Watch this match. It's great.
Yeah, if you can find it, definitely watch it. Speedball Mike Bailey versus Walter in Riptide Wrestling.
International Waters event for Riptide Wrestling. It's free on YouTube when I found it.
Oh, fantastic. There you go. Free on YouTube. Go to Riptide's YouTube channel.
Yes, exactly. It doesn't have many views, but it is 100% worth the watch.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Well, after I've gushed about two dudes beating each other, let's go on to what your next match is.
So my next match is from a GCW event from last year, 2019. It is from the Collective, from an event called GCW Presents Orange Cassidy is Doing Something or Whatever. Who knows?
I love it already.
And this match is between Ultramantis Black and Nick Gage. And it is a Yuletide death match. It is a Christmas-themed death match taking place in April.
Wow. Wait, in April?
Since it was part of the Collective last year, it was around WrestleMania weekend, so it happened April 6th. And it was a Christmas-themed death match.
God
including weapons like a board with glass Christmas ornaments on it. Also including a Christmas tree wrapped in lights and also barbed wire.
Of course.
It was fantastic. And Ultramantis Black actually has 2 full sleeves on his arms with tattoos that are Christmas themed. That's
amazing.
So I think he made this match. I'm not really sure the whole backstory behind it, but it seems like he made this match because Ultramantis Black loves Christmas. But that being aside, it was still a death match. Lots of barbed wire spots, which always make me shudder, man.
Especially like when the barbed wire sticks into someone and doesn't go out of it. Like that's where it's like, oh.
Yeah, that was rough. At one point, of course, the tacks come out. They're Christmas themed tacks. They're red and gold. They're red and gold Christmas colored tacks. That are actually stored in a little Christmas Dunkin' Donuts box.
Oh my!
It's like the Christmas themed Munchkins box, and it's just full of red and yellow tacks, and they're just dumped everywhere.
It's so fitting.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like this whole thing, because like you're like, oh, it's a death match, and you're like, oh, that's a Christmas tree you're hitting each other with, huh? like there's a spot I think where Nick Gage does like a second rope like splash onto Ultramantis Black, and Ultramantis Black has the Christmas tree on top of him. Like,
oh,
there's a spot where there's just also a board with just barbed wire on it, not Christmas themed at all, but just like a regular barbed wire board in the corner.
Of course.
And Gage drop kicks Black into it. There's points where Black this match gets ridiculous. It's not as like crazy as a lot of other death matches I've seen. It's more of a chill. It's definitely more chill. There's not a lot of blood. It's just like a lot of spots that look bad. It's like the barbed wire spots, the tack spots. There's some chair spots. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I got you.
Compared to other death matches I've seen.
It's not too bad compared to those other matches where guys beat each other with light tubes.
I've watched a Cage of Death match. Dude, those are nutty.
I'm going to have to watch one of these days.
Oh, my God. The CZW Cage of Death. We do not promote CZW, by the way. They fucking suck.
Oh, my
Anyway.
God. Oh, wow.
The owner of CZW is a dickhead.
Oh.
So I refuse to promote their shit.
Unfortunate.
But I did used to watch Cage of Death matches sometimes, and those get fucking nutty. And I'm not promoting CZW, but I'm promoting the performers in the Cage of Death, because hats off to you for what you're willing to do to your bodies. This match was good though. I had a lot of fun. It was definitely fun. Like, it was a death match, but it was fun. It was like a lighthearted death match, which is weird, but it worked. Nick Gage and Ultramantis put on a great show. There's like a show of respect between them at the end, because after the match, where Nick Gage wins, by the way, and Nick Gage wins, and afterwards, MJF comes to the ring and attacks Nick Gage with a chair.
Oh, wow!
Because of something that happened earlier in the night during a 5-on-5 dodgeball match that also happened at which also happened at GCW Presents Orange Cassidy's Doing Something or whatever. Who knows? It was like, I don't know. There was like some weird thing. I didn't really listen to what MJF was saying, because it's just like, it's MJF. He's gonna say some stupid shit and try to get heat. And then Cassidy comes to the ring, rolls in, walks up behind MJF. MJF turns around and he goes, "You idiot! You don't even know how to do a sneak attack right. You know you're supposed to do something." And then as MJF is berating Cassidy, Cassidy spits orange juice in his eyes.
That's awesome.
And then it like gets MJF, and then Nick Gage comes back in, and he gives him he hits him with his finisher, and then Ultramantis Black hits MJF with his finisher, and MJF rolls out of the ring. They also they also kind of like get him on the tacks a little bit, which is interesting, because MJF takes like a little bit of a spike bump, which is cool. But then at the end, Orange Cassidy hands Gage and Ultramantis Black sunglasses. They all don their sunglasses and give the old thumbs up to end the show.
Oh, it's a nice, heartwarming feel.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was just like a fun, lighthearted match, but it was also a death match with barbed wire spots and tack spots.
Exactly.
And Christmas trees wrapped in barbed wire. It was a Christmas-themed death match in the middle of April. Like,
Christmas in April.
Wrestling, right?
Yeah.
But overall, it was a good, like I said, it was a good match and I had fun, but I still gave this match a meh. It was like fine.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna say it was high on the meh scale, like in there. Like it wasn't exactly mark out, but it wasn't like, I still enjoyed watching it and I still had a fun time.
Gotcha.
I still do recommend you to go check this match out if you can. It's on IWTV. If you have a subscription there, you can see this match, because the entirety of GCW Presents Orange Cassidy is Doing Something or whatever. Who knows? Is on IWTV. The whole VOD is there. So if you go to independentwrestling.tv and have a membership, you can go see that match. If not, I recommend getting one, because it's awesome. But yeah, this match is fun. It was fine. It didn't blow me away, but I did enjoy it. So that's my match. That's my second match today.
Well, going from that, we'll go to my match then. So, going to this next match, I wanted to pick something that was slightly different, because in case you haven't told them this, in case you can't tell after the last episode, if you have watched it, I really like when guys just beat each other up, like really hard hitting stuff.
Fights are always just fun.
It is like one of my favorite things. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go pick something more comedy related, because I don't usually pick comedy wrestling, but I want to at least try it. So I looked around, and like the obvious thing would be to pick Orange Cassidy. Because
Orange Cassidy, Gentleman Jervis,
because,
blah, blah, blah.
Because AEW. So I was like, all right, I'm like, not going to pick Orange Cassidy. And I decided, funny you mentioned him, Gentleman Jervis. Because I was like, I want to see him in a match. Dude. I saw a match before where Mikey showed me where it was like 5 minutes long. And it was ridiculous, but I loved it. So I was like, all right. I'm like, let's find a match that he's like, I haven't seen him in. So I ended up picking.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm a huge Jervis mark. I love him. I think he's so funny, and I think his wrestling style is so good. I think he can turn it on when he needs to, but he's also just hilarious.
So what I decided to pick for was Gentleman Jervis versus the Question Mark from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Have I seen that one? I don't believe I have.
That match is fairly recent, if I recall correctly. Hold on, I'll bring it right here because I have the link right in front of me because it's free on YouTube. It just came out. No, it came out literally June 22nd of this year.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched that one.
So
interesting. Talk about it.
I started this match out with Gentleman Jervis coming in. The announcer said he weighed 3,000 butterflies, which I thought was just an amazing touch for his character. He didn't have his theme music of Mr. Brightside, which made me a bit sad.
Oh, bummer.
I was like, I was looking forward to that.
Probably copyright issues.
I will say,
yeah, usually Jervis comes out to Mr. Brightside.
Yeah. I will say, right off the bat, I love Jervis's energy. He came out, he was playing to the crowd, he was just this bundle of positive energy. He had his hat. It was just, I loved his gear too, by the way. He has like this like old-fashioned, like
the fuzzy.
The fuzzy on his chest. It's kind of like a strong man from a circus, like an old-fashioned circus. And I was like, oh, that's clever. So then
because his full name is Jervis Cottonbelly, so he has the
Cottonbelly. I didn't even
so he has the fuzzy stomach.
Didn't even realize that. He came in with some kid name. I think it was like Kid Isaac. I don't know who he was. No idea. So then it was the Question Mark, who I first saw this guy in NWA. The best way I can describe him,
I've definitely heard of the Question Mark.
He's a bearded guy in a mask with a giant question mark on his head. It's like a black mask. He wears like a leotard, and he uses, I think it was
that's fitting.
Mongrovian karate is how he pronounces it.
What?
Yes, he does karate, but he calls it karate.
Incredible, like SpongeBob.
Exactly.
Karate.
So basically, I came into this match looking for Jervis, but I was like, you know what? I'm down for Question Mark. I'm like, because I wasn't sure if it was the same guy, and they're like, he did well in NWA, so I was like, okay. I'm like, all right, same guy. Match starts with Jervis trying to hug him, which he gets rejected several times. So then he bows to him.
Sounds about right.
And the guy actually bows back to Jervis, and there's like a section where the two of them are just bowing to each other. And I was like, oh, that was nice for him to play into Question Mark's karate theme. Unfortunately, though, this is kind of where I have to get a bit negative. The wrestling for this match was not very good, in my opinion.
Oh, bummer.
A lot of the action was just kind of super floaty and didn't really connect. Jervis sold Question Mark's moves quite well, but, like, I just don't know. Like, it didn't do it for me at all, and there wasn't a ton of wrestling. I will say, though, there was one fun spot where Jervis is holding Question Mark, right? Mm-hmm. Question Mark, like, puts his hands in, like, Warhorse's, like, metal thing. It's like that, except he like puts the horns up without the thumb, and he poked Jervis in the chest. Jervis goes back to the corner, and he's like, oh, what happened? And suddenly he goes, oh, no. And then he just falls over. And I then learned from the announcers that this was the Question Mark's touch of death.
Incredible.
So Jervis sold this really well. He also sold his Mongrovian
I can just hear Jervis like getting hit in the chest and just being confused and being like, oh no.
That was literally it. Like, I will say, by the way, throughout the rest of the match, like, he was like, all right, come on, let's have a good show. Like, he was like having like bantering with him. He was playing into the crowd, even though the crowd was very obviously on the Question Mark side. He was playing into the crowd. I'll say this: the finish of the match was kind of like they started to pick it up a bit, and then he just kind of did like, you know how Umaga did like the spike with his thumb.
Yeah, the Samoan spike.
You know how I said he did the touch with the two fingers? He basically did that to Jervis's throat twice, and they called it the Mongrovian spike. And he pinned him. That was the match. I think he almost beat up Kid Isaac, but I didn't care for Kid Isaac, so it was fine. The match ended, and I was like, oh, this is just a squash match against Jervis. And I was like, all right, that's fine. But, like, in the end, I have to miss it. Because in the end, this match, there was nothing special about this match. If anything, you'll be like me where you watch this match, and I would be like, I want to see Jervis go, like, really go. Because I've seen clips of him going. And I want to see him going against an opponent that's just, I don't want to say better, but, like, gels better with him.
So what I've noticed is that comedy wrestling is a lot harder when you try to mix comedy wrestling with just wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You either go, I think there's a line that you either go fully into the comedy spectrum or you go fully into the wrestling spectrum, and it's hard to play that line in between.
Gotcha.
Like, for sure. Like, a lot of the matches where Jervis is, like, full comedy is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But, like I have seen a couple of those matches where it's, like, weirdly in between, and it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. So, I will say this, and this is not a spoiler, this is me straight up saying it. I will be watching another Gentleman Jervis match. Hopefully next time will be with a opponent that does that they gel better with in the ring.
But I recommend if you're going to watch a Gentleman Jervis match, a very, very good one to me that I always love watching is Gentleman Jervis versus Orange Cassidy.
I heard about this match
at Wrestle Circus.
I have to watch
that match. That match is if you want full comedy, that match is full comedy. Like that match gets there. It's so good.
I'll have to watch it then.
Yeah. I love it. Like I love watching it. Every time I watch it, I laugh because it's just like so goofy.
It's the best. Comedy wrestling hits and it's hilarious. It's the best time.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy has made me really appreciate comedy wrestling more. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's just so funny. And so yeah, Gentleman Jervis, ball of energy. Fortunately, the match was not much to write home about.
Yeah, that's a bummer to hear because I know he's had some bangers, but it sucks to hear that. I mean, like, not every wrestler can bat 1,000, right?
Exactly.
Like, everyone's going to have their bad matches.
Oh, man. But, you know, hey, there's always next time.
Yeah, well, I think that means we have both presented our individual matches, and now, Zach, it is time to gush together about a match we both watched that you suggested. We have Hyan versus Rok-C from Reality of Wrestling, for the Diamond Division Championship.
Yes, and if I recall correctly, Reality of Wrestling is actually Booker T's indie wrestling company.
Really? I was unaware of that. This is the first time I've ever heard of Reality of Wrestling.
Same here, because when I picked this match, the context I'll give here is that I was kind of like, all right, I was like, I want to find a women's indie match because I haven't done any women's indie wrestling, and I looked it up, and apparently the Texas scene has been really good. And Hyan came up a lot, so I looked up Hyan, and I kept getting her and Rok-C, so I was like, all right, I'll pick one of the matches, and this is the one that I ended up picking.
Yeah, so the story coming into this match is that Hyan's like the champion, right? The dominant experienced champion who's a heel who like uses anything to win, and Rok-C is like the young, determined underdog, ready to try to take that title away.
Yes, they.
I think Rok-C, they said, like, just turned 18.
Yes, and
so,
if I recall correctly...
She's, like, super, super young.
Yes,
it's
and they
crazy.
said Hyan was only the second champion to hold this belt, with the other one being Kylie Ray, if I recall correctly, who she dethroned for it, I think.
Makes sense. Kylie Ray is big in the women's wrestling scene. She has been championed basically everywhere. Actually, last night, as of the recording today on Sunday, last night, at a Warrior Wrestling event, she just won the Warrior Women's title.
I gotta watch one of her matches these days.
In the Stadium Series, she just won a match against. She won her match against Tessa Blanchard.
Nice.
Spoiler alert, I guess.
All right. I will give props to the announcers for this match just right off the bat before we really get into it because they gave me so much context, and I was like, "Thank you for giving me context and why the crowd was so hot for Rok-C."
That definitely was helpful. I do give praise to the announcers for giving me a little bit of backstory of both of these people, just so because I didn't know either of them coming into this at all. Mm-hmm. So it definitely helped for the announcers to put them over before the match started.
Yes. So I guess I'll start it. The match starts off with the two of them kind of just exchanging holds and such, and it's kind of really back and forth. Like a lot of this match is like what I kind of liked was is that it really gave you the feeling the two were on an equal playing field. Like, you could tell, like, Rok-C was up to Hyan's level, and Hyan didn't want to admit it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the two of them were just going back and forth. Like, there's a point where the two of them are grappled with each other, and they roll out of the ring, go all the way to the announcer's desk, and then when they finally break the hold on each other, the ref is at 9, and they both have to run
and they're both like, uh-oh.
It's like, oh, shit.
There's, like, that little moment where they both look at each other, and they're like, oh, shit. And they both just run to the ring.
I loved it, so I was like, oh, that's a clever way of showing how the two of them are kind of, like, on each other's level.
Yeah, this match, it was like really like you said, Hyan played a good heel in the fact that she didn't want to admit that oh shit, Rok-C might actually be on my level right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think she played that up very well. This match was also just really smooth, in terms of wrestling, they transitioned from spot to spot really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And just every move, the way it transitioned into more it just felt like a really smooth match, and I really liked it a lot.
One of my issues, I will say, is that the punches weren't the best sometimes. I will give it that, but they were smooth.
I mean, I can forgive that.
Exactly. It's not too big of a deal. I feel it's just something to mention. There were some botches here and there, but I do appreciate that even though there were some kind of miscommunications, they didn't let it bother them, and they kind of kept going. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I have to say, I had to gush. I loved Hyan's character work here.
Me too. She did wonderful.
Loved it. I loved her getting because a little background is Hyan was apparently known as the Renaissance woman. She's like supposed to be like
the new age of
the new age, like the
reality
pinnacle
of wrestling, yeah.
And kind of like she starts the match with like kind of like this like very like postured like kind of like I don't know how I would say it, but like she's like very much holding herself up, but like towards the match's end, you see like the cracks in her mask start to form. She starts getting like really irritated, and I was like,
yeah. There's this one. I guess I'll talk about it later because I don't want to spoil anything right now. But there's this one really good shot at the end that I want to talk about.
All right.
But during this match, there was like she hit her finisher, which everyone was like, "Oh, that's it, it's over."
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought that too. I was. Yeah, they worked me hard. Like I was like, oh, she did her showing. She put on her moves and she hits the finisher. It's over. 1, 2, 3. And then Hyan kicks out, or no, Rok-C kicks out, and I was like, what?
I had the same thing. I was like, oh, I guess it's over.
When she kicked out, honestly, I got chills. Like I got goosebumps. I was like, whoa, really?
Oh wow.
I was like,
I was
like she kicked out, the crowd went nuts, and I was like, ooh, okay, now we're getting good. Let's go. I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
And then she hits her again with the beauty sleep off the top rope.
Yeah.
And when she picks it, like when she goes to hook the legs, she hooks them. When Hyan goes to hook Rok-C's legs after this top rope beauty sleep, which is Hyan's finishing move, she curls up the legs a little too much as to where Rok-C's feet hit the ropes, and she gets a rope break, which was I've never seen a rope break like that done like that before. I thought that was really cool.
I like that. I was like I said, we were saying before, it played into the frustration where like she let her anger for her. She kicked out of her finisher and hooked her always like there's no way you're kicking out of this, and she cost herself the pin there.
Exactly, like her own frustration, or like you said, those cracks, right? Like those cracks were starting to show where we're starting to make mistakes here and there. Like she hooked her legs just a little too far, so she hit the ropes instead of getting that pinfall. You know, like it was those cracks that started showing throughout the match that really started selling it for me.
Exactly. Do you want to go into the? I will say, the finish of this match kind of came a little bit out of nowhere, in my opinion, which made me a little sad.
I agree. It was a little bit out of nowhere. I
guess
it was a little weird, but like I'm into it.
I was like I didn't hate it, but like I guess I'll explain it. Basically, she hits her with the top rope beauty sleep. Rok-C rolls out of the ring. Hyan's like all pissed off. She rolls Rok-C into the ring, and then Rok-C just kind of quickly grabs her and did what I didn't realize was her finisher. The crowd exploded, and she pinned her. And I was like, oh, that was her finisher? I was like, dang. I was like, all right.
It was that like DDT, right?
Yes, it was kind of like a mixture of like
a facebuster DDT.
Yeah, facebuster DDT. That's a good way of describing it, yeah. And I will say here,
it was cool.
I have to give props to the crowd. The crowd really helped me with this match because, like...
Oh, they were in it. Yeah, they were in, dude.
Like, I was like... This sold. For me, this really, like, pivoted because, like, I won't lie, I wasn't as much into the match as you were, but the crowd, I was like, all right, the crowd's keeping me in this match, though. I was like, the crowd kept my attention on this match because I was like... Because they were really behind Rok-C and they were really against Hyan, and I was like... It just shows how much a crowd can really elevate a match for you.
Yeah, for sure. I really like this match a lot. I was not expecting Rok-C to take the victory here, which was... That really surprised me. I thought Hyan was definitely going to retain her title, but when Rok-C won, I popped. I'll say it. I popped. Zach, if we're talking about a rating for this match, what are you thinking?
For me, I'm torn. I was still torn on this last night. I'm torn right now because there are parts of this match where I was like, it's fine, and there are parts of this match where, like you said, I was like, that was really like that was good. I really liked that. Like, I'm torn between a meh, but, like, I don't know if I'd call it a markout because I've seen better women's wrestling in other promotions.
For me, I'm definitely sold on markout for me.
Really?
The way I got goosebumps when Rok-C kicked out, and the way Hyan was telling the story of, like, the Renaissance woman who started to crumble under the pressure of not being able to finish off Rok-C was done very, very well.
I agree with that.
And I really liked it, and I was in. Like these two women definitely just hooked me on this match, and for me, it's a markout for sure.
I'll give it, yeah. I can totally see that. Like as we're talking right now, I'm kind of like just going through the match again a bit, and like, yeah. Because I watched this later last night. It is smooth as heck, man. Like it's
smooth as butter, right?
Yeah, like I'm like insane. Rewatching it, and I was like, man, I must have not been because like there were these spots here that I'm just like, wow, they're just doing really. You know what? I'll give it a mark out.
Yeah,
you
let's
sold
go.
me on
We
it.
got
I'll give
a
it a
mark out on this match.
I'll give it. It's good. Like, they're really smooth, and like the two of them do a really good job.
Yeah, this match is free on YouTube if you want to go watch it. Hyan versus Rok-C, Reality of Wrestling. Definitely go check it out. Awesome match. These two women put on an awesome show. And it's a title match, so it's just like gives that extra hype, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely go check it out when you can. It's super, super good.
Well, with that down there, I guess we should introduce the new segment that we're adding this week.
Yeah, so this week, everybody, we are adding a brand new segment. We're calling it The Double Down, where we are going to shoot back to last week, where I will be watching one of Zach's matches that he had last week, and Zach will be watching one of my matches that I reviewed last week, and we're going to be giving our own quick review on it. Since me and Zach just talked about the last match, Zach, who do you think should go first in this one?
I'm fine going first for this one.
All right, so Zach, I believe the match I gave you to watch was Warhorse versus Ophidian from Flying V, Hardest Part of the Ring, correct?
Yes, it was.
How was that match?
I was very entertained by this match. Like, this match basically embodies for me when you take the corniness of wrestling and everyone, the announcers and the wrestlers and the crowd involved, just embrace it. And then you add in the wrestling aspect of it, and then in the end you get this great result of just everyone having a great time.
Mm-hmm. It's that suspension of disbelief for me that really gets it, where it's like
exactly.
it's like that hypnotizing spot where Ophidian's like doing like the snake charm to Warhorse. It's like
love that.
It's like sometimes if you just let yourself believe this is actually happening, it makes wrestling so much more fun. I think that's the fun of wrestling.
Exactly. There are some spots where like the announcers are playing up like they're acting like Warhorse is an actual horse. Like they're like, you can only butcher a horse. You can't butcher a horse legally in the state of in the United States. But
one of my favorite lines was Warhorse isn't ready. Warhorse isn't ready to go to the glue factory just yet. Was one of my favorite lines from the commentators.
I loved it. I loved like you were talking about how they were selling the face paint. I thought that was hilarious. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's good. I'm like, I like that. I also loved, just a side note, I love the banter between the two of them. Like, I love the whole match. The two of them were just talking shit to each other. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's good. I'm like, I like that. Spots were smooth. Ophidian was ridiculously smooth. Butter, man.
Unbelievable, right?
You were not kidding. Like, he literally was, like, slithering around. Like, just, like, there were some holds he put Warhorse in where I was like, oh, my God, wow, that's a lot of it. That's just, to be able to do that so smoothly, I'm like, that's practice.
Yeah, it's unreal.
It's good.
He's just good.
It was a great match. Like, I basically, the best way to describe it, I was grinning from ear to ear the entire match. Like, I was just having fun the rest of the match.
Mm-hmm. So, last week, I believe, I gave that match a mark out. Zach, you want to give a quick rating on it?
I would probably give it a middle between meh and mark out for me. Mm-hmm. I don't know which one I would put it at, though. Like, because I don't want to give it a meh because I had so much fun with this match. But when I think of, when I think of Walter versus Speedball Mike Bailey, I popped so hard for that match that I'm like, I want to give this a mark out, but like it didn't reach the heights for me. But like, so I'm gonna give it a meh, but make no mistake, this match is fun. It's great. The wrestling is fantastic. The selling from both guys is awesome. The crowd make it good, make it better. If you're a Warhorse fan, and this is only my second Warhorse match, you will have a great time because he most certainly does rule ass, and the two of them ruled that match.
Yeah, that match was great. I loved it. That's why I told you to watch it.
I liked it. It was a very fun time. Now, if I recall correctly, I then gave you Pentagram Jr. versus Vampiro.
Yeah, Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro from Lucha Underground, the season 1 finale. Lucha, what was it? Lucha Ultima or something like that? Ultima Lucha, yeah.
Ultima Lucha, yeah.
This was a Cierro Miedo match, which was basically just a death match between Vampiro and Pentagon, and these two kicked the absolute shit out of each other, dude.
Yes, they did.
They were both bloody messes by the end. And even though you said what happened after the match, that moment of Vampiro like revealing to Pentagon that he's like, I was your master all along, was so good. The crowd sold it so well when Vampiro was just like, as your teacher. The crowd was just like, what?
Dude, the announcers were like, what the heck?
The crowd was like, what do you mean?
The broken bones for this?
the one I will say, there is one thing I didn't like though, and that's when there was one point where Pentagon was absolutely beating up on Vampiro's neck with like a chair.
Oh,
and
I remember
Rick Knox
that.
slid up and put the X up. I think the X shouldn't be used as a work.
Agreed.
I don't think that, like, I think the X should be only used in emergency situations, and you shouldn't scare people like that, because the X has never really been used in a work before, so if you put up the X, people are going to really think something's wrong, and that's not okay to do to people.
It's worrying.
I get why they did it, because they want to take him out on the
Yeah.
stretcher and have this big moment of Vampiro coming off the stretcher and beating up the paramedics and being like, no, I'm fighting in this match because I'm a badass and I don't care if my neck is injured, whatever. Like, I get it. I get what you're trying to go for, but you don't need to throw up the X for that. Like,
you don't need to. And it's like, it just says like the bad thing. It like this thing like runs with the possibility of like, what if someone's actually hurt and like the X goes.
I mean, yeah,
up,
we just had.
like,
I mean, there was just a big recent scare with that, right? In AEW.
Oh god.
During All
Spiky.
Out, where Aubrey threw up the X for real, and it scared the shit out of everybody. But then the match kept going, and everyone was like, and it completely took the wind out of the rest of the show because everyone was worried: is Matt Hardy actually hurt or not? Was it a work? Was it not?
Exactly.
It just took this. Like, don't use the X as a work. It's shitty. I think.
It's you don't need it.
Yeah, you don't need it. Just if you're trying to do a paramedic spot like that, just bring the paramedics out. That's like, just bring them out. It's fine. It's fine. You're gonna get the same effect. Just don't use the X unless you absolutely have to. But
exactly.
But other than that, like barring that, the match was really good. These two kicked the absolute shit out of each other. There was sick table spots. There was tack spots. There was the light the deathmatch classic light tubes.
Oh, light tubes.
I had to look away when Pentagon was shoving the light tube into Vampiro's head.
Oh,
I had to look
man,
away. That one like I was like, nope. I couldn't do it.
Oh,
that was rough. Yeah, I couldn't watch it. I was like, I was like doing the thing where I was like, had my eyes closed. I was like peeking through my fingers. I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch it. But like, yeah, it was rough. But the match was good. I gave it my I believe you last week gave it a mark out. Yes. I am also giving it a mark out because it was great. I was entertained, and the whole twist at the end definitely pulled the whole death match together, especially after Pentagon broke Vampiro's arm.
Oh my god! I was just when he did that, when he first did the breaking his arm thing, I was like, all right, you're hard. I'm like, yeah, I believe it. You're hard. And then he's like, as your teacher,
you broke your master's arm. Congratulations, you pass.
I was like, wow. Like I said, like I can't describe it. Like the building literally like erupts with people going like, "What? What do you mean?"
Yeah, the crowd definitely sold that moment really well for sure.
Oh man, that was great.
All right. Well, I believe that brings us to the end of the show. We had some great matches this week. We had some missouts this week. So go check out those markout matches. Go miss out on those missout matches, and tune in next week for some more. Tune in next week for some more awesome wrestling matches, for some more independent wrestling. And remember to subscribe to this page so you can get new episodes of Independent Waters every week. And if you go over to Hit the Books, me and Ryan Knightsey do a SmackDown vs. Raw booking show where every week I book SmackDown, Ryan Knightsey books Raw, and we have a head-to-head competition to see whose card is better. That is every Friday on the Hit the Books main channel. And you can go check out our YouTube for everything this podcast, all in video form. And we also have some extra stuff on the YouTube. We have some pay-per-view reviews, and we have some 2K out. We have some little commentary on 2K matches with me and Ryan, which is really fun. And if you want everything to do with this podcast, Hit the Books, and any other show that comes up on this network, go to hdbpod.com where you can find out anything you need to know. So, Zach, I believe that brings us to the end, and it's been a great week today. Awesome matches. Very excited for next week, and
oh, absolutely.
And remember, everyone at home listening, always remember there is a gigantic sea of independent water out there.
So never stop exploring.